right, happy Friday, everybody. February 23rd, 2018. It is 11:35 a.m., almost getting to the noon time of the day. Hope everyone that's at work is getting ready for the end of the week. I certainly am. This is a wonderful thing. Not so much the weather, but, you know, Friday's a good day, as always. So, we have been talking about our moisture strip that has just been devastating basically the east end of the country, diagonal from Dallas all the way up to Chicago, just under Lake Michigan. This was the video I posted yesterday with a 30 million people in flood warnings. We're going to continue to talk about this only because there are some interesting things going on. Now, I have you here on Vent2 Sky. This is actually a 5-day accumulation rain rate that we are still going to expect as this moisture strip finally begins to pull up out of the Gulf. It's just leaving the northern areas of Texas, and then there is a spotty storm, quite a big storm near Baton Rouge and parts of Louisiana. Now, you could see with this chart here, maybe hard to see on the phones and tablets, I apologize for that, but we have over the next 5 days another 2 to 3 inches that are expected to come down in areas of Louisiana. And then as we move up into more of the middle of the country, like I said, Dallas up into Chicago, we still have a lot of rain to come, guys, and a lot of this is going to depend on whether or not this cold dip in the jet stream meets with this. Some of this may turn to that sleety, cold ice mix that's going on. So this doesn't always necessarily mean this is the amount of rain that's going to fall. As temperatures get colder, there could be areas of snow up near Chicago. Chicago is getting those cooler temperatures. We do have that heat being pulled in from the Gulf still, covering most of the southeast of the country. There still are a lot of highs going on here as far as temperatures go, but that is beginning to change because of that dip in the jet stream that we talk about that likes to swing like a pendulum. So it's almost going to cut up over, missing out in these areas of the southern east states, and then pulling up to the Great Lakes, and that's where we may begin to see the issues with the snow. We are reaching the end of Winter Storm Oliver, which is up by the Great Lakes now, and now we may be dealing with another winter storm that could be named, if not named already. I don't have access to the Weather Channel right now. I could have looked it up, I probably should have, but the next storm would be Winter Storm Polly, which looks to be a very strong possibility. More than likely will be named Polly. That is currently moving from the upper west down into the Rockies, like we talked about yesterday in the video. And again, my opinion with this storm is that it's going to continue to stay up a little higher than usual. Well, I say usual because the jet stream has been allowing a lot of this cold weather to dip down into these southern states that we are not really used to, especially in the month of February. That's all due to the jet stream and a little bit of a warp going out in the upper Pacific. Up in this corner here, there's a pressure that's actually wobbling that jet stream and causing these dips and giving us some very interesting weather. So once again, you can see right here 5 inches to expect over the next 4.5 days, and that extends all the way up, like I said, underneath Chicago. The high rain rates, I would want to say, if temperatures stay current, would be Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and then that kind of bends into Ohio and then eventually Pennsylvania. Now, it's hard to say exactly if this is going to be all rain or if it's going to be that wintry mix. That all depends on what goes on with the jet stream that's actually moving and, like I said, swinging like a pendulum. It doesn't move exactly west to east in its form. The form is bending, it's always morphing, and it's kind of swinging like a pendulum, and it's going to pull up right over the Great Lakes, and that's what my concern is over the next week or so. That includes the possibility of Winter Storm Polly being pulled up in that area, which is once again why I believe Polly will be more of a northern situation, eventually making it to the Great Lakes, which could be another lake effect snow situation. And we are also still dealing with the possibility of some significant snowfall in areas of New York. Binghamton, I believe, was 3 to 5 inches. That is coming very shortly. So just wanted to touch base on this moisture strip that has just been flooding areas all over the place, guys. It is just A lot of rain, a lot of people just put out. They can't even be in their houses. Damage being done. Again, I brought up that chart that gives you the ability to check your current levels in lakes, streams, rivers, creeks, what have you. I don't have that pulled up now. I'm going to link it down in the description box. Very good chart to use to get current ideas of where you live specifically. That county website at weather.gov is a very useful tool to get very detailed information on your individual county. But this is an overall forecast I'm doing right now. I do have the GOES satellite pulled up for you, and we have some crazy lightning going on in areas of Texas and Louisiana, which is very, very cool looking. Of course, lightning is very dangerous. There's nothing cool about lightning as far as the danger aspect goes, but this is that live lightning chart that, excuse me, that I like to pull up for you guys. And you may not see any at the moment, but as I was getting this video prepared, you see those circles pop up, and that means a current lightning strike. Now, the reason for this is because we're beginning to see that strip of moisture that we just showed right here. It's beginning to lift off, and almost the end of it is being seen. And you can see this area of Texas here, and then that spotty big storm that's over the west areas of Louisiana. That would include areas like Baton Rouge, Hammond, Covington, I believe Slidell's in there, and then of course New Orleans. So this is a very big storm producing a lot of lightning. So anyone in those areas that, you know, likes to do photography or anything, I would love to see pictures of lightning if any of you have the cameras set up that want to do that. And that includes mid to slight east Texas. You could see just at the bottom of this moisture system here is where we're getting these big lightning strikes. You can see as that moisture strip is pulling up, it's causing all the lightning in these groups here. We have little spotty lightning up in near Michigan and stuff like that. Nothing very significant. That's because it's a lot cooler up here. Again, that bend you see in the GOES satellite here is basically that wall between the very high temperatures going on and then the very cold temperatures coming on behind it. This would be what we call Polly in the near future if it has not already been named, crossing over the Rockies. That will continue to move, I believe, more in a straight west to east movement, and then it will get caught up in the same situation that this bend is. So it's looking like this storm's going to come down. It may dip down a tiny bit. I don't see it doing that much, but it's going to get caught up in here and then brought right up through the Great Lakes. So I'm going to continue this thought on tropical tidbits in a moment, but once again, here is that lightning situation. You can go to spaghettimodels.com. They have the chart pulled up. You can click on it, and then you can click on different areas of the country. Or you can just go to this website here, which you actually can't see because I have it cut off the screen. So I'm sorry about that. I'll put it in the description box. But very cool to see this lightning chart. I've been watching this a lot lately. And there you go. There's some live lightning right there by the Louisiana areas. Like I said, the Baton Rouge, Hammond, Covington areas. That's because there's a big storm over there right now. It just came off the Gulf. That warm Gulf water is now causing the lightning. The mix of cold and warm air is certainly one of the big causes of these big pockets of lightning you're seeing here. So just be very cautious in these areas. And again, if any of you take pictures or into photography, I would love to see some really cool lightning pictures, and now's the time to do it. Now this may start moving its way up into these areas here depending on how cold or, excuse me again, sorry, how much that cold front it begins to push west to east, which is also again why Polly will stay along the middle here and then come up into the Great Lakes. Now again, just to give you an idea of the temperature cutoffs here, we have very high temperatures going on still up into West Virginia, Pennsylvania, west parts of Pennsylvania. DC is a little cooler, but you see the reds here covering Atlanta and then into Kentucky, stuff like that. And then those cold temperatures are down here. Now this cold that's in Dallas, you can see that lightning is happening almost right where the cold and hot meet. So that's more than likely a significant cause in it. There are other atmospheric conditions that do add to the lightning situations, but just to see those groups, those very specific groups going on. If there was a lightning strike over here, you'd see it. So there's no lightning in these cold areas. It's all happening in this little bend here. There's another live shot right there. Whenever you see those circles, that's a current lightning strike. So on we go. Let's check out Ventusky here, or Tropical Tidbits rather. Now this right here is something I want to talk about briefly. We are a ways out from here. This is March 4th, but this is a significant low pressure system that looks to be forming that may cause some issues for the upper northeast coasts. And we're talking wind, and depending on temperatures could be very heavy wind and rain, or it could be a very like whiteout condition snow type deal. That all depends on the jet stream, guys. Again, I will say jet stream until I no longer exist, because we all know the jet stream is what pushes and controls these systems. It's what's pushing this moisture strip up into from Dallas to Chicago. And then let me back up here and I'll give you an idea of why this is happening. We'll go back to current time. Today is the 23rd. Sorry guys, my throat. Gotta have some tea. Gotta stop with the coffee, start switching to tea. Alright, this is that high pressure in the Atlantic Ocean we've been talking about for days. Now you can clearly see these circles here, and the weather just wraps around it, and that's what's pressing this line of moisture against the U.S. I know we mentioned this in a lot of videos, but this is what I want to hammer home to everybody, is that this weather does not just pick and choose where it goes. It's atmospheric conditions that control where this stuff goes. We have that low dip in the jet stream that comes up about right in this area, and then we have that high pressure bubble, the Bermuda Atlantic, that's pinning it to the east coast, and that's why that strip is staying very, very significant and very, very dense in these areas. So as far as right now, the rainfall and this strip of moisture is covering Texas, Oklahoma, about 3/4 of Arkansas. That would be East Oklahoma mostly, and then northeast Texas as that lifts up and actually exits Texas, like we saw in the GOES satellite image there. And then basically all of Missouri, all of Illinois, that moves into Indiana, Ohio, and then it kind of bends down into Pennsylvania. And like I said, the reason it's bending down is because that cold front is beginning to hit areas of New York, which may cause that moisture to become snow. So the rain is continuing. Our GOES satellite is easy proof of that. But again, just to tie it all together, the reason we're getting the lightning is because of those warm temperatures in the Gulf moving up, causing that big storm in Louisiana. Again, that's the Baton Rouge, Hammond, Covington areas. And then in Texas, we're dealing with the lightning in areas of Lawton, Wichita Falls. I believe Denton's in there. Fort Worth, obviously, is in that area. Dallas, of course. We have Archer City. And Henrietta, I believe it's called, or maybe I just butchered it like I usually do. But again, those are those very significant lightning areas. And again, we are just dealing with massive amounts of rain, guys. We still have 5 to 6 inches expected over the next couple days, all the way from Dallas, like I said, all the way into Chicago. So this is not over yet by a long shot. Now, again, a lot of this northern moisture will all depend on how quickly this dip in the jet stream begins to move across the Great Lakes. So this may not be rain for a lot of these areas here. It may be a little colder. It may be a sleety, mixy type deal like that. But that's exactly where we're at right now, guys. If I have any more updates as far as this weather strip goes, I will bring them up. I have a few other projects I'm working on that I will get out. Norway tracking, don't worry, buddy. You will get your video. I do have my forecast for the upcoming hurricane season in the works. It's just a lot of detail work I got to work out and give you the most accurate information possible, and also be able to explain my opinion on it. I don't want to just say, oh, I think this is going to happen, and then not have an explanation for it. So it is an in-depth video. I will have it released, and we will see what happens. I'm still convinced that April we will begin to see our tropical depressions and tropical storms. I'm not so sure about a hurricane. That does include the end of March, guys. This has been a very interesting season that has been going on even as far back as the past hurricane season. So ever since that season began, we've just been having very, very weird weather in the U.S. The jet stream has been doing some weird things. We got some weird anomalies going on in the west, upper North Pacific that is causing these jet stream dips. And we're just going to see how long that continues, because that will automatically determine how our summer goes in the near future. So With that said, we have the CMC model here, and I also want to show you, by the time we get into March, the early days of March, there is this vortex that seems to form just as it exits the northeast coast here and begins to do a nice little whip, a counterclockwise whip. Northern hemisphere counterclockwise storms are usually very significant. Again, this is far out in a way where it could change. We may not see effects from this like we're showing here, those deep purples. But if this does stay true, guys, we're talking Massachusetts, New Jersey, Long Island, all the way down into Delaware possibly. There could be some significant wind and rain caused by this low pressure system. And again, it's all going to depend on that jet stream. Now, to finish the video, I'd like to show you this chart here. These are our current water temperatures. We do have a little bit of a cooling going down in the west coast of Africa, which is where those tropical storms and depressions usually begin to form. They start as storms that come off the northwest area of Africa, and then they come down over the Cape Verde Islands. They move down this way, and then they usually follow that east to west belt, I like to call it, that bring these hurricanes either up the east coast or into the Gulf. So I do believe it will be more of a Gulf season. I don't want to make any predictions. I'm not trying to scare anybody. It's just these atmospheric conditions are showing that there's going to be a significant trail here that may be pretty common for our storms to follow down in this area. Like we said, the Lesser Antilles is a big area, and then we got Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and then right into Cuba. We got the gap here, and then the Gulf. So the Gulf, I would say, is going to be pretty prone to these storms if it is a busy season. Again, that may all change. That's why I don't like making predictions. I just give you the available data I have at the time, and I try to explain it in a way that, you know, the average person can understand, because I've always had issues understanding channels like the Weather Channel and stuff like that, because I mean, those people, they're so used to explaining weather that they use lingo that a lot of people don't understand. So that's my job here. That's what I like to do. I like to teach the basics to everyone so they can just go to these charts and be able to figure this out on their own. They don't have to rely on the Weather Channel or their, you know, on the 8s updates, stuff like that. It's always good to have a basic knowledge of weather. Weather is a very important part of our lives. It always will be, always has been. So that's where we're at now, guys. I wanted to keep this quick. This is basically our noon update. I should have another video out shortly, a couple hours. I'm going to talk about a few things. We have some earthquake action going on, 3.4 in the British Virgin Islands, 2.8 magnitude in Dominican Republic, 4.4 in the North Severine areas of Zemlya. And then we just had a 2.2 magnitude east-northeast of Aguanga, California. So lots of little action going on in California as far as earthquakes go. I will be digging into those as well. But anyway, guys, I hope you have a wonderful Friday. Again, it is February 23rd, 2018. It is now 11:53, almost time for lunch. And that's what I got for you, guys. Hope to see you soon. I will have a video out later on this afternoon. Have a great Friday. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.